Any nations that provides training, they are really surprised and shocked what our operators are able to do.
You're one of those people within air defense who remember the first day of the beginning of war, where the whole monitor of the observing or intelligence system was covered with red dots.
And you can see all the aerial threats in the airspace, and not only above Ukraine, but close to the Ukrainian border, above Russia and Belarus.
Hello, I'm Jenny Klochko, and you're watching my podcast, the platform for stories, a guest beyond your daily news feed. Today we discuss air defense system, and my guest today, Denys Smazhnyi, colonel and air defense system officer. He's on Zoom with me today, so we will discuss how he and his team making the impossible thing possible. Hello, how are you today?
Hello, I'm well, thank you. Thank you for having me here today.
I was waiting very long, as you know. It took a bit of time for us to find the right time and opportunity. So, Denys, how Ukraine manages fight with such big and powerful enemy and protecting the sky when the whole world thinks it's impossible?
In our air defense domain, it's the same as in any other domain in Ukraine. It was just an amazing, hard-working thing from our soldiers. In this case, our air defense operators in the field, that are operating all those systems. And as you know, we started this war operating only old Soviet legacy systems, and nobody expected, of course, such great results from our air defenders. But yeah, we managed it. We managed, and first of all, as I said, that's a high proficiency of our operators, and at first stages that was flexible tactics. How to fool Russians is, if we are talking about nowadays, we are still fighting only thanks to support of our partners. We are getting, we've got and continuing to receiving a lot of Western modern air defense system, as well as obsolete but still effective systems. So that's how we're still managing to prevent Russia to get superiority in the Ukrainian sky.
You're one of those officers from Ukraine who goes through regular or constant training in different countries. Could you tell me more about that? And maybe you have preferences, or by now it's third year of war. You probably got so much skills, knowledges, and comparing where we start in February 2022 and now, it's probably incomparable.
Still easy to compare because, as I mentioned, even though we are getting new systems, we're still sending our best soldiers to be trained on those systems, the best soldiers, the most motivated soldiers. And unfortunately, because of this in prevent war, the most experienced operators in the world. So that's why any nations that provides training, they are really surprised, and they're shocked what our operators are able to do, how they are able to perform air defense operations, even with new systems. But as I mentioned, these are modern systems. It's easier to operate. As I always compare to operate NASAMS, Aristi, or Patriot, it's more like playing computer game. If we will compare with old systems as S300 book or S125, so that's how it is.
Is it difficult to switch off? Because I think it might be easier for the very young generation, for those cadets who graduating, and for them easier to learn from the start the new system or the Western system. But you were so quite established by the time of the beginning war. So your professional mentality was based on Soviet and post-Soviet weapons, isn't it?
It was easy to switch because the principles of air defense are the same. You just see another interface, another screens, a little bit another mind thinking how it works, but still it's easy to switch. Sometimes it took just only 2 months to switch from one system to another, still pretty complex system, but we did it successfully, and we continue to do it nowadays.
You're one of those people within air defense who remember the first day of the beginning of war, where the whole monitor of their observing or intelligence system was covered with red dots, which means the enemy planes, missiles. Do you remember your emotions, those moments? How did it feel? Did you feel like this is the end? We can't do anything, we're just little people? Or you were sort of on the spike with adrenaline and you felt like, this is like a fictional story, and not believing that this is happening with you, and just target.
Well, I was at the command post of Air Force earlier than all the invasion starts, like weeks earlier, and we prepared. We prepared. We are military. Do we believe in what is going to happen or not? We have to be prepared. In this case, we work with all these scenarios. So for us, for me personally, it took 2 weeks. 2 weeks to be prepared to work on command posts day and night before the full-scale invasion started. But for me personally, of course, I didn't believe by the end. By the end of this peace period and the start of this invasion, I didn't believe for 100% how somebody should be so stupid to start such a mess. Yes, such a terrible action. So I woke up at 3 a.m. at that on February 22, and I was told, okay, it's starting, because they started to prepare their airspace closer to Ukraine, and we had to start to prepare our airspace. And they started to formate. You can see the whole Ukraine on your screen, and you can see all the aerial threats in the airspace, and not only above Ukraine, but close to the Ukrainian border, above Russia and Belarus. And we started to notice they're building their formation: 1 aircraft, 2 aircraft, 3 aircraft in different areas. And it was a feeling that they will start it, but there was no scare, never, like we can handle it, because I was always an optimist. And I always compare the statistics of previous wars. I never saw Russia's success in the air. I at least I said we will do something, because we have the historical example in 2008 in Georgia, when Georgia, with their small air defense, shut down up to 20 aircraft, and they thought, okay, we have like 10 times more systems, so we should shoot down at least 200, right? So, and yeah, we've been prepared. They didn't expect our air defense would be so successful. Nobody around the world believed in Ukrainian air defense. But in first 2 weeks of February, and in first March, full month March, we shut down more than 100 aircraft, and I don't remember, but a lot of helicopters at that moment. So yeah, it started first thing that I noticed: the aircraft penetrated Ukrainian border in Donetsk region, and launched cruise missiles in Kramatorsk, and they started after that almost simultaneously shooting the cruise missiles, the air-to-surface missiles, and ballistic missiles. And it was what I noticed, what I still remember the best, the clear silence at the command post. Command post, it's a huge hall with operational center with dozens of people, and the Air Force commander who is commanding operation and giving all his commands, and the clear silence, this cold, calm working process, just reports on radio and commands, what to do, what to destroy, and no yelling, no panic, just a clear silence, and just reports and commands. And I was so shocked, and I don't know, maybe like how to compare when any people is in a difficult situation, high risk situation, they start this, maybe it's an adrenaline makes them to concentrate and just work. And we heard a lot of reports like our battalion is attacked, our battalion is destroyed, we've lost radar, and aviation is flying, Ukrainian aviation, Russian aviation are in the sky, but it's a well coordinated process. So that's how it was. Yeah, how it was, and I believe the first attack, it was like 1 or 2 hours. After that, it was a pause, so we could easily schedule our duties, and somebody just okay, I will go to get breakfast because we need to be prepared, and we just started to move, started to work, collecting information, and starting to reform our reformate our formation, our combat formation, to move systems. Okay, we can see, okay, yes, they started to attack here, they do not attack here, we need to concentrate. You are starting to thinking how to optimize, and that's how it was. Yeah.
When you were telling me, I was trying to imagine it, and first there was the pictures from some, American spaceship films, something like that. But at the same time, as a human, I understand you military. I understand you've been trained and practiced for many years to be the way you are. But it's unprecedented. It's historical. It's something which Europe, not just Ukraine, hasn't experienced for 70 years. And those moments, I'm sure I can see you have family, I'm sure there are kids, so parents, was there any slightest, maybe for a second, like, how is my family doing? How they are? Are they safe? Are they okay?
Absolutely, and that what the most motivating factor, family and nation. I will explain. So after this first attack, at around 7 a.m., I walked to the Denys facility to have a breakfast. And first, what I did, I called my wife. She was crying. But there was no panic. What was it? It was like some kind of angry. How they could? How it's impossible to believe. But you are not panic. You are not scared. You're trying to be strong. And she was crying, and she said, just be safe, and yeah, we have to do something with it. It was the first hour, and after next attack, after next Russian wave of attack, I had an opportunity to call my wife, and that was that was something that made me cry. So she said, we saw a lot of people are collecting near the how does this military recruiting center, and me and mom, we are going to prepare to make cakes and cookies for our men here in my town. And my kids, my older kid, he said, I will go to fill bags with sand to create the fortifications for our city. And my son, my youngest son, he said, I will help my mommy to cook cakes, and I will bring them to our soldiers who are standing in the recruiting center here in my town. And I was crying, and I said, with this nation, we will never give up. We will do anything. And this was the great moment when we when we became so united, and our social media, our television, radio, they started to show all this unification of nation, and this live translation of all these things that are going in Ukraine. And that's highly motivated, because at the very first period you think, okay, I'm a military, it's my destiny, I have to do something, we have to face this war first. But we didn't. We faced this war with whole our nation, with our families, with our kids, with our brave wives. That's incredible.
Yeah, it was. You mentioned that they took you 2 weeks to get ready to prepare for this if the war comes. And for me, 2 weeks, at the beginning of war, there was 2 weeks exactly. I lost my sleep. I just couldn't sleep because here in London, the papers, front pages of every media, every newspaper was about the war, the intelligence, the dates, everything, all about it. And I was so shocked that in Ukraine it's difficult to accept and believe that this is coming, this terrible nightmare coming, and then when it's happened, I remember I was shocked because it's like you're watching on telly how someone destroyed your country, and it's I know it's not the same if the missile hits your block of flats or kills your nearest and dearest, but it's another way of torture. And so it was shocking. It was shocking and very inspiring how people were queuing to join the army. And I remember I was at the beginning, I couldn't believe when the Ukrainian celebrities joined, and some of them actually till now in the trenches or operating the drones. So yeah, it was the moment of unity and pride, being the Ukrainian, and yeah, you just feel like no, it's not gonna give up so easily. And so when we mentioned the screen of yours with many red dots, and it's a known fact that Ukraine at the moment does not have control over the sky in Ukraine. If Ukraine did have, would it look different? And can you see Ukrainian fighter jets on your screen, or the tactics and strategy of defending sky is different if Ukraine has all the capabilities, the air defense system, fighter jets, and enough, replace if there's unfortunate tragedy happening, like when we're losing pilots or jets.
So yeah, of course. And just to clarify, the last 2 weeks before the full-scale invasion, that was active preparation, but we prepared our troops for all the conflict like much earlier. So, and before that we already were 8 years in the war, so a lot of the most different directions were already covered by multi-layer air defense. But to answering on your questions, we have to understand that Ukraine never had enough air defense. First of all, in comparison with the most powerful air power in the world, with one of the most powerful Russian air power in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, having 10 times smaller amount of fighting jets, and of course old fighting jets against modern Russian fighting jets, having not even a half of required air defense to cover all the territory of Ukraine, to protect each city, it's difficult. And that's the main factor why Russia started this invasion. If we would have enough situation, right, like the same amount of, or at least 50% of the same amount, the same generation fighter jets, the robust air defense, multi-layered air defense, Russia would never start this invasion, and we would never see that picture on those scopes. But we had what we had, right? So I believe that's the answer that I can give you.
Recently, President Zelensky mentioned about returning a nuclear weapon to Ukraine. And Do you think Ukrainian sky would be safer if Ukraine had nuclear bombs, like before giving up it during Budapest memorandum?
Okay, that's a difficult question. I'm not such a high top level military officer, right? But what I know from studying in different books and different schools, that yeah, nuclear weapon will never protect sky, but nuclear weapon, first of all, it's a deterrence weapon. Of course, it's not to attack and a small weak in military sense country, but to attack nuclear country is, I would say, yeah, we would have more chances to avoid this war. But for that moment, for that moment, we believe that we stopped to be a nuclear country 30 years ago, because we've been pretty sure that we will be, because of that we will be protected by nuclear countries, nuclear strategic powerful countries. But today this isn't our responsibility for our defense, and yeah, we still are fighting just because of Western and other country partners support, but we need to think about our own means how to protect it. That will not last forever, that protection. We need to think about it. So I don't know, but according to the lessons learned from the world history, that could help.
During your training, obviously you meet colleagues, instructors from NATO countries, and you told earlier that it's not difficult to switch off. You just you don't. But what are the challenges? Is the language? I can see you quite fluent and easy with language, but it's different when you learn in military systems and probably the modern software with own tricks and principles and everything. So is there so something which requires more of your attention during your training process?
I would say training process in all the European and other countries support is the easiest part, because it's really yeah, I mean the hardest part to provide all those systems, provide interceptors for those systems. That's the biggest challenge. In training, there are no challenges. The biggest challenge, as you mentioned, yes, that's a language, but that's just for first 2 weeks. Why? Because the vocabulary of the course is a little bit limited. So I would say up to 500 words, and you need translators for your soldiers mostly for the first 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, they start to understand. They use the same words, and till the finish of the training, they do not really need all the translations. It's most usually they need the translator to express their thoughts, their answers and testing, but if you're talking about receiving information from trainees are already understand most of that. So yeah, at the very beginning, the challenges in language. There are no other challenges in training, because we have a great trainers from different nations. They're doing a great job. They become great friends during this training process, and after that, after they sending our operates back in Ukraine, they support them, they text them, they call them, and we feel that support even after the training is finished.
Do you have, I understand you tried different air defense system. Do you have any favorite? And, sort of, I guess they have similarities but have differences. Is there something you'd prefer or you're sort of...
No preparation, as you mentioned. If you will sit in modern IRIS-T, NASAMS, MPT system, you will see pretty the same picture. You will see pretty the same buttons to push, and they are pretty the same, and they all are effective. So these systems, you know, they are really nice. They look great. You fall in love in Iris-T from the first view when you see all this machine. You love how Patriot performs in automatic regime, destroying all of the DMs. You are shocked seeing this. You see how great the interface in NASAMS when you're sitting in that chair with all those screens. That's impressive, but they are modern. What I would like to say about Western system, when you are getting the old systems like Hawk systems, and you never expect some specific and good results from them because they are as old as your, for instance, S125, very old system, but they start to surprise you because they perform better, much better. So there are no like my favorite system, but I like them all. So talking about challenges in this area, right? And favorites, we are getting so many systems, like in numbers, so different system. For instance, for only Air Force operate 16 different system, including old Soviet Union and old Western system and modern system. So
16.
16, yeah, 16.
Wow.
So talking about what I would prefer, not because I like that system or I don't like the system. I would prefer the system that we can get in a big amount, like not more than just 2 or 1. Sometimes we appreciate that we are in such condition that we need to expect different system. But when you have the constant income of systems with enough interceptors, that is the system I would like to have. Not because I like it, but it's optimal and it's good for my country, for my air defense in general.
President Zelensky, he regularly emphasizes during his meeting with Western leaders how the Ukraine needs to expand, or you were saying, and create multi-layered air defense system. You mentioned just now that you would like more and continuously supplied. But what is, I mean, how would you describe the perfect case scenario for this multi-layered air defense system for Ukraine in the current situation?
So if we are talking about, and we are talking a lot of Ukrainian needs and our final destination in creating a robust integrated air missile defense, the final end state, the number is huge and shocking. European and US partners and other partners, then they always said it's impossible to have so many systems like in one country. Not it's hard to find the examples of such country that would have such multi-layered and density air defense system. We can talk about, for instance, Israel is a good example, but they're in that condition, and that's why I'm always saying we are in such a condition. Ukraine is big territory, and we are fighting one of the strongest enemy. That's why that number that we are showing. But the best scenario in the end of the day, the best scenario that will protect Ukraine properly, and that will give enough air defense capability for Ukraine, and will not eat all money, you know, to keep and maintain all those systems. That's a huge budget that we will never be able to bear without our partners. So still, to have enough systems and not to spend all our budget of the country on those systems, the best scenario when you are part of some kind of organization, for instance, NATO. In this case, that is a perfect scenario. In this case, you just have a limited amount of air defense clusters that you can use to protect your country if you are in dangerous, and the other partners will put your system because they don't need them now, but they can protect you, and they should support this system during this war. After everything ends, everybody just take their systems away, and you don't need to spend all your budget in peacetime. At the same time, when somebody other in danger, you should put your defense clusters and protect them. That's how it works, and that is the best, and that is the most desirable scenario.
Interesting. You're saying about partners' participation defending Ukrainian sky. Here in London, I was among many people who, like, from the first day went to Downing Street 10, and we were asking to protect the sky. And I want to show you something from those days. This is my thing. So I took it with me to Downing Street many days, and obviously I'm civilian, and I'm far from understanding how the military cooperation can be without, like, at the same time, not escalating, but defending the country which was attacked. Obviously, at the beginning, there was a lot of speculation in media about defending Ukrainian sky, helping NATO. For you personally, as a military person who understands the context, have you ever thought that it would be great if they joined and helped, or you understand it's unrealistic because basically it's official Third World War, because if not NATO against Russia, it's a different level of escalation. What was your thinking and your opinion when everyone or many people were discussing it?
Yeah, there are a lot of discussion, a lot of headache about this. We are working with our partners right now to provide, okay, what should we do if this scenario is possible? What objects can be protected? How to manage this mutual cooperation between Ukraine and, for instance, NATO countries? We do not have doctrines, and we do not have tactical procedures how to cooperate in this case, right? If they will provide this opportunity to protect at least western part of Ukraine. We are not talking about fighting with Russian aircraft at the east. So it's a very complex issue, but it's not impossible. Definitely not as possible. It's something that can be done. Can be planned. I'm a military person, and I talk with for instance, with US guys, with different officers, and they are also a military person. Give me an order, and I will put my petrol to protect your nuclear power plant in Nityshin, or protect your dam in Dnistro, in the Dniester River, right? I'm a military person, but that's not what I'm responsible to make a decision on it. So yeah, physically it's possible, but the decision should be done somewhere on the upper level. And the biggest concern on this from our partners is, in this case, they think, okay, we will be involved in war, and that's already war against Russia. They don't want it because it's hard. The easiest way, the easiest answer always is no. To find this solution, and especially in this situation, is extremely difficult.
Yeah. So there was experience during your when you were defending Ukrainian sky, when in 11 minutes Ukrainians shot down 7 Russian jets. Could you remember? Do you remember about it? And could you tell more about this experience? And it's tremendous success, but it doesn't happen regularly, does it?
So yeah. It's a great question, and I would love to discuss this event. So it happens on 28th of March. Everybody remember that day. We call it the last aerial fight for Kiev. So what happened? It was a regular attack. Russia provided up to 3 waves of massive aircraft attack on Kiev daily. A lot of Russian jets and bombers dropping missiles and bombs on our troops, and we are protecting, just fighting. And nobody, I didn't expect that they will give up so fast to withdraw from Kiev region. But that day looks like, as I understood later, they already started to prepare the moving their ground forces away from Kiev area. That's why they started to protect and organize this withdrawal. And it looked like an attack of last hope. their aircraft flew up to Vasilkiv. That's so close to Kiev, and it's in a very short period. That's already started the second month of war, right? 28th of March. We already have enough air defense system in Kiev area, because we understood that's the most important for Russia to attack Kiev, and they just flew inside of our kill zone. We just shot them down, and I remember the comment of General Krivonoshka when he finished this aerial fight, and he said, in 11 minutes we guarantee shot down 7 modern aircraft, and I suppose to call this day the day of the Kiev air defenders. And everybody started to applaud on common post. That was such a great result. Everybody was so proud for our Kiev air defenders. But talking today, is it the most resultative attack or defense in our war history? No. After that, a lot of good fights, air fights happened, heavy and difficult, and results. If we will remember the shutting down 2 aircraft and two helicopters in just 30 seconds above Russian territory. If we will remember, shooting down A-50s.
Yeah, too.
So that's our air defenders, all our defenders, not only in Kiev, all around Ukraine, providing such great results. Remember the first Killjoy destroyed. Remember the massive attack on 16th of May on Kiev, when Patriot shut down dozens of aircraft. That was such a beautiful show. Unfortunately, we have to observe those actions, but that's what it is, and that's the history of air defense. That's not only Ukrainian, but worldwide history of air defenders happening right now in Ukraine. There are a lot of examples that we will not have enough days to describe all of them. But that, yes, on 28th of March, that was impressive. That was great.
So when the enemy is on the screen, so it's a red dot. When the enemy is hit, this dot disappears, correct?
Yeah, it's what is the dot on the screen? It's a result of analyzing radar information, analyzing of intelligence information. After the radar detects something in the sky, they analyze, okay, there is a speed, there is an altitude and direction, it flies here, and other guys say, okay, it's most likely the cruise missile, or maybe it's a jet, and of course it's enemy threats, so let's put it in this color and give it name, number, and etc. And everybody see it. At the same time, the same way we are showing our aircraft and our UAVs and everything, so we can manage our aerospace using that information, that intelligence information. After we hit it, so again there is an analysis. It's losing speed, it's losing altitude. We can see something happen with that target, with that threat, and after it we can't see it, it disappears because it's pulled down.
Yeah, but it's not the same if you shoot with the rifle your enemy and you can see it's done. Or it's just a dot. Do you have this sort of like feeling of unrealistic, or is the system right? Is it really targeted? Is that like another tangible confirmation?
There are a lot of ways how to confirm. It would seem unrealistic when you first see this in the screen. When you work with this in years, you just analyze and you accept, your brain accepts it just like an information. And yeah, and you of course, the only person that can confirm that they destroyed this target, the operator of the system, or the guy with manpad or with machine gun. Okay, I can see it's explode and it's falling. And we also repeat that report from them. And when we collect all those data, okay, it disappears from radar scope. The soldiers saw how it exploded. We can report that the target is destroyed. That's how you can see all this each morning information. Okay, Air Force destroyed so many Shahed drones, so many cruise missiles, and so on and so on. That's a result of analyzing what's happening, what what hit it, which threat is actually achieved there, aimed to hit our power plant or other objects, but at the same time, which one of those threats were destroyed, we also analyze.
Do Shahed's drone look the same on the monitor, like a fighter jet, or you can see this is Shahed's, this is the fighter jet, or they all red dots and you need additional information?
No, we can see. We can see. We definitely know. Can see this is an cruise missile because of size, because of speed, because of altitude. This is a fighting jet because he has other elimination. Shahed drones is small, slow, low altitude. Somebody standing on the aerial post could hear that it's like a motorcycle. Yeah, it's a Shahed drone for sure.
Your job when you're in Ukraine, and because we acquainted probably from the first months of the war, but it was very difficult for to it was very difficult to meet you physically because your job is a lot of secrecy requires. It's not just where you're stationed or where you go, but it's also for the whole crew. And it is a known fact that in order to trick the enemy, Ukraine uses fake air defense system like the wooden or something for distract enemy and not to lose the systems we have. How difficult for you as a human being? Doing your job, serving the country, defending the country, and keep with all the secrecy, because it's not just about you. It's not about the weapons from the partners. It's also about your family. It's about normal life, if it's possible. How do you manage? How your team members managing with the secrecy and life?
Yeah, just it's easy to divide your service and your private life and civilian life. And it's not difficult. The best way not to say anything about what you are doing, right? It's always enough to say, okay, I'm okay. I am busy. I will call you later. What I'm doing right now, it's not something that you should know at this moment, right? And not showing your activity, and that's very important, and that's a very important part of our job. So just hide what you are doing and service, keep your secrets. It's easy. Sometimes, of course, we have guys who love to share their experience, to show that those videos and those impressive and all those civilians who, it's hard, it's so difficult to hide a defense system in modern world when everybody can have cell phones with cameras and can put all our actions online. That's in this case we are asking our security services to help us. They are doing a great job to prevent all those information leaking.
Every morning, my morning starts from reading news from Ukraine, and sometimes, I still 3 years of war, I still can't comprehend the numbers of missiles, drones, how many was hit, how like have all been shot down, or some um, unfortunately hit the target or fell somewhere there where they shouldn't fell. Do you read that kind of statistics, or you have your own internal information? And how do you emotionally, as a human being, not as a military, navigate through this? Because for me, it's just, basically two options: being upset, knowing about it, or not being upset and keeping myself in the dark if I feel it's going to be too hard today. But with you, it's it's affect your job, it affects you emotionally and can distract you. So how do you manage this emotional aspect of, because you're one of those on whose shoulders Ukrainians guide every night?
It's hard to operate and to handle those emotions, and it's impossible to ignore them and to avoid those news. You always go through those emotions, and especially at the very beginning of the full-scale invasion, you are not used to see what's happening on the streets, and with your people and with your country, and you are just absorb all information. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. But today, how do you? I also check the social media in the morning. It's just like something that you already doing every day, especially when I'm not at the command post. For instance, I'm in a duty trip, or I'm at home for vacation, right? And we keep our secrets. I do not know what's going on there, and that I can't call my boss or my guys, ask directly what happened, and they can't explain me because it's a secret. And I just check news, trying to find what's happening, what's going on, and yeah, that's something that we live with, and I have no solution how avoid.
What is it victory for you? How do you imagine it?
Victory for us, right? So victory for us, of course, Ukraine is deliberated fully, because if we will stop here right now, I don't think it will be the end, like forever. They will collect their forces and continue to get all Ukraine. That's what they claimed thousands times, and I don't believe they will reject this idea. So yeah, Ukraine is deliberated. We have enough forces to protect ourselves. So in the future, there should be even a thought about let's do it again. No, they need to understand that it will cost them a huge and big price. And for me, victory, and as I mentioned, we are part of some kind of at least alliance, if not NATO, but at least guaranteed and properly described cooperation, co-protection in Europe, because we are protecting Europe right now. Why don't they protect us like we would like to?
I can see through our conversation how much you love Ukraine, how much you love your country. Why do you love Ukraine?
There are so many reasons to love Ukraine, especially when you're traveling a lot around the world. You can see that this is the best country, with the best climate, with the best food, with the best kids, with the best women. I don't know. Everybody who travel in Ukraine, who works with Ukrainian abroad during this cooperation, everybody loves Ukraine, and everybody say, "Oh, I will visit Ukraine because yeah, it's great."
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for finally we found the time, best opportunity. I'm so grateful, and I would like to wish you all the best, all the luck at your training right now, to keep yourself safe, your nearest and dearest, your team, everything what you plan, or the best case scenario for Ukraine, for your service, everything come true, and stay safe. And Ukraine will prevail. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Denys Smazhnyi was my guest today. We discussed air defense system and how Ukrainian air defenders, using creativity, knowledge, inspiration, and with limited tools, trying and actually successfully protecting Ukrainian sky. Share your thoughts. What do you think? Was it interesting? Maybe some aspects you don't agree with, or opposite. You are on the same page, or you would like just to share your thoughts. I would be endless grateful for them. And thank you very much for all your shares, subscriptions, likes, comments. I love your comments. Thank you very much. I'm Jenny Klochko. Have a great day. Take care.